Hey guys, welcome to Cape and Cowl Cafe. I'm Nemo, and today I will be casting the Bat family for James Gunn's DC Universe. If you guys liked the video at any point today, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button, but let's just hop right into this. Alright, so this is probably going to be one of my more controversial videos.
You. Is that all?
And that is because us Batman fans can be pretty picky about who gets to play these characters. We're passionate, and that's a good thing, but let's keep it civil. We all got our opinions, and that's okay. You know, discussion is important, especially in the comic book space where there are so many different versions of these characters, and we are bound to disagree sometimes. But if you guys disagree with me, let me know why in the comments, because I love hearing your guys' thoughts, all right? I love going through each and every comment. I try to respond to as many as I can, but yeah, let's just keep it civil. And I'm adding this disclaimer to the beginning of the video because today, I will also be talking about Nightwing, the most uncastable character in fiction, and I know that a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's okay. I know he's a hot topic, all right? So let's just hop into this now. All right, first up on the list, Batman. Okay, so I've already talked about Batman in my Justice League Fancast video, so we're gonna start with him, but my opinion has actually changed. That is why discussion is important, because somebody actually changed my opinion, you know? Crazy, that happens sometimes. I no longer think that Aaron Taylor Johnson is the best choice for Batman. I was blinded by his sheer talent, and I did not take his height into consideration, especially compared to David Corenswet, and there's only so many inches that a Batsuit can add, but I didn't know that there were so many fan casts for Batman. You know, I had only seen a few when I made my previous video, but I'm going to be going through some of the options, and I'll tell you my new favorite. You know, starting off, we have Jensen Ackles. He would be a perfect Batman. He's my dream Batman, but, you know, he's getting up there in age. He's almost 50, and if in this universe he's supposed to be closer to David Corenswet's Superman, who is 32, I just don't know if it would work, but, you know, I still wouldn't be mad if it did happen. And then you have Alan Ritchson, who is an absolute tank of a human being, and, you know, he would be a very intimidating and physically imposing Batman. Like, he's just a big dude, but I think that he is better suited for other roles, you know? I think he would be a really good Wildcat or an adult Shazam. I just think that there's other characters that could utilize his unique form of humor better than Batman, you know? Like, he is a good dramatic actor if you've seen Reacher, but sometimes his performance can come off a little flat, and I think that he's way better in more comedic roles. So giving him Shazam would probably be a better role for him. I don't know how he would look with black hair, but, you know, you can figure that out. The next option that everyone's always talking about is Brandon Sklenar. I mentioned him in my previous video. You know, I think he was my number 2. He does have a gruff look that would be good for Batman. But, you know, after, you know, somebody changed my mind on this, I don't see him as number 1 anymore. I think the number 1 choice for Batman is obviously Nate Mann. I mean, look at this guy. He is the right height for Batman. He graduated from Juilliard just like David Corenswet. He's an incredible actor. He has the look. And if you have heard him talk, he sounds exactly like Jason O'Mara, the guy who voices Batman in the DC AMU.
Here, if this engine goes down, here's the procedure, right? Here's why that procedure exists. You know, here's these gauges, here's these.
I mean, look at this guy. This is Batman, all right? I did not know that this guy existed when I made my previous video, but I am so thankful for the person who opened my eyes and showed me Nate Mann. This is Batman. All right, next up on the list, we got Oracle. Yes, you heard me correctly. I said Oracle and not Batgirl, because if we have Nightwing in this universe, we should be assuming that Batgirl is at the point of her career where she is Oracle. She's already had her horrific encounter with the Joker, and she is now the computer specialist for the Bat family. Now, if we were casting for a younger Batgirl, you know, a lot of people might throw out a name like Sadie Sink, which wouldn't be a terrible fan cast. I think I would be in support of that, but since we're casting for Oracle, I'm going with somebody a little older and somebody that, you know, gives off that smart, intelligent, bookish look, if you know what I'm talking about. So my pick for Oracle would be Maya Hawke. You've probably seen her in Stranger Things. I think that she is an incredible actress, and she could definitely pull off this intelligent character. It just makes sense to me. I mean, me personally, I prefer Barbara Gordon in the Oracle role more than Batgirl, but, you know, if we started out Barbara, being Oracle in this universe, we could have Cassandra Cain be introduced and she could be Batgirl. We could introduce her to the general audience. I think that would be a pretty good idea. All right, next up, we got Alfred. So it wasn't too hard to find some picks for Alfred. I mean, all you gotta search is old white British guy and like 100 different actors show up, but I only found a few that I actually like. So first on the list is Matthew McFadden, who you've probably seen from Pride and Prejudice as Mr. Darcy, or Deadpool and Wolverine as, I'm forgetting his name, the time guy, the bad guy, yeah. But I think he has just the perfect amount of sassy charm that would really bring a lot of personality to Alfred. And, you know, he is a little young looking. He's just starting to gray. So that might be something that, you know, people won't like. But I think he is an incredible actor. And I mean, he's not a terrible pick. He's at the bottom of my list, but, you know, it's not bad. All right, next we have Douglas Reith. And, you know, he's just another British actor. He's from Downton Abbey, which I have not seen. My mom actually suggested this guy. And I looked up a few clips and, you know, he seems like a pretty good actor. I don't really have much else to say about him. I just kind of threw him on the list just cause, but he's here. All right, my next pick for Alfred might be a bit of an unorthodox one, but stay with me, right? My number 2 pick for Alfred is actually Alfred Molina, all right? He is an incredible actor. Everyone knows him as Dr. Octopus from the Spider-Man movies, but I don't think that role allowed him to show us his full range as an actor. I think he is one of the best actors around right now, and he doesn't get the attention that he deserves, all right? He is capable of so much more than Dr. Octopus, and I think he would absolutely kill it as Alfred. I know that he doesn't have the typical, you know, debonair Alfred look, but I mean, I think he could do a really good job, all right? This is kind of a sleeper pick in my opinion. All right, and my first pick for Alfred might be a little bit of a basic one. I think a lot of people are eyeing this guy, but Hugh Laurie, I think he would be an amazing Alfred. Everyone knows him as Dr. House, and he was incredible in that role. I have yet to see the full show, but I have seen a little bit of it, and he's really good. This is probably the most sassy British man I have ever seen, and that's mostly why I think he would be perfect for Alfred.
Hey, that's a giant dinosaur.
And I thought Batman was the detective.
I mean, Alfred doesn't take crap from anyone, and Alfred is a badass in the comics, and he does not get represented that way in the movies. I mean, and so I think that this guy could show us a new side of Alfred that we just haven't seen in live action yet. All right, the next member of the Bat family on the list, Tim Drake. All right, I already know that you guys are gonna absolutely hate my picks for Tim, Dick, and Jason. But the thing is, you gotta cast really young with these things because these characters are going to exist in a cinematic universe, which means that they will be around for a decade or more. So if you cast an almost 40-year-old as Nightwing, he's gonna end up looking older than Batman, and it just won't work. And at the end of the day, these characters are teenagers, all right? In the comics, when Dick Grayson first became Nightwing, he was 19 years old, all right? He wasn't in his mid-30s. And in the comics right now, he is depicted as late 20s, all right? He is eternally in his late 20s, maybe early 30s at the most. So I will not be picking anybody who is almost 40, all right? And same goes for Tim Drake. He is a high school student. I will not be picking an actor who is in their mid to late 20s. It just doesn't make sense, especially for an extended cinematic universe that will be here for over a decade. So Tim Drake is an interesting character to talk about on this list because, you know, James Gunn apparently has changed his mind on things, all right? Apparently the Brave and the Bold movie is being rewritten and we're not sure if it's gonna be about Damian Wayne anymore. So all bets are off, anything goes at this point. So in my dream DC universe, at this point in the timeline, Jason Todd is Robin, all right? Dick Grayson has started his career as Nightwing and Jason Todd is near the end of his as Robin. So Tim Drake wouldn't really exist yet, so I'll give 2 placeholder picks for when that does happen. So my 2 picks would have to be Jack Messina and Mason Thames. Now, I haven't seen Jack in very many things. He's very young, very unknown actor, but Mason Thames has actually blown up recently. He was in the How to Train Your Dragon movie. I think he's a really talented actor, and he could pull off the role of Robin. And honestly, Mason Thames might even be too old by the point Tim Drake comes along, because remember, Tim Drake is a high schooler, all right? He is like 16, 17 years old when he becomes Robin. So Mason Thames is 18 now. He might age out of it and we'll have to pick somebody else. So these are just placeholder picks. All right, next on the list, Damian Wayne. This is going to be a very short section because I find it incredibly difficult to fan cast really young actors. And I believe that if you're going to do Damian Wayne in a movie, he needs to be like 10, 11, or 12 years old. And it's very hard to find actors in that age range. So you should just go with an unknown, which means I don't have a pick for him. I'm sorry, guys. All right, moving on. We got Jason Todd. All right. There is only one person that I want playing Jason Todd. And as I said before, in this universe, at this point in the timeline, I would like Jason Todd to be Robin, not Red Hood. My pick is Jack Alcott. He is most popular for his roles in the Dexter shows. Now, if you guys are a fan of Dexter, let me know in the comments below because I love Dexter. But if you've seen Dexter New Blood and Dexter Resurrection, you know that this guy is a good actor and he can absolutely convey the traumatized darkness of this character. And he just, he plays a character who is morally conflicted so well, all right? Now, his performance in these shows is what sold me on his ability to play Jason Todd. There are moments in the show where his character gets pulled in and tempted to commit these acts of violence. And there is a sense of hesitance, with him, where he doesn't want to do it. But then when he eventually caves in, he revels in it, and it's kind of sick to watch. But I think that kind of almost insane personality would be perfect for Jason Todd, the violent, troubled youth. Now, I know that Jason Todd wasn't really like that in the comics, but that's how he's portrayed in most media. He's the hot-headed, violent Robin, and I think that it kind of works for the character. We should stick with that. So this is my guy for Jason Todd. I think he's perfect for the role. Well, this is embarrassing. I just found out that Jack Alcott is 28. I thought he was younger. He looks really young, but we could go with somebody like Javon Walton from Euphoria. I think he could fill the role pretty nicely. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the part of the video that will get me more hate comments than that Karen who stole the ball from the kid at the baseball game. It's time to talk about Nightwing. This is probably the hardest character to cast in fiction. I mean, there are so many requirements to play Nightwing. You gotta be funny, charming, you gotta be in perfect physical condition, and you have to literally be the most attractive man on the planet. There is no way that we can find the perfect person to play Nightwing, but I'm going to try. I will be looking for actors in the early 20s range because, with characters like this, they're gonna age out of the role pretty quick. This is a cinematic universe we're talking about. It's gonna be around for a decade. Gotta cast young. All right, there are a lot of options on this list, so I'm just gonna speed through some of them, and I'm gonna start with the bad ones, all right? Timothée Chalamet would not be a good Nightwing. It is a basic, lame fan cast. It's like saying, oh, Tom Holland should play Ben 10. No, all right, that's not gonna work. All right, I've been seeing a lot of people say Finn Wittrock for Nightwing, but he's 40, all right? Too old, moving on. Logan Lerman is also a name I've been seeing get thrown out. Now, he would be good 5 to 10 years ago. He is 33. By the time the movie comes out, he'll be pushing 40. Not gonna work. Dylan O'Brien, 34 years old. Will be pushing 40 by the time these movies come out. Too old, but let me tell you, what an absolute waste, all right? This guy would have been the perfect Nightwing. What were we doing as a society where we weren't making this happen? Come on. All right, now on to a pick that I actually like. We have Wolfgang Novogratz, and on paper, he seems like the perfect Nightwing. He's funny, charming, he looks great, very attractive man. But the thing is, he's taller than my Batman fan cast, and he's like the same height as David Corenswet's Superman. That's the only reason why I don't think it would work. And he's almost 30, like he's in our age range, but I think he's gonna age out pretty quick. And if he's looking taller and older than Batman, I just don't think that it's gonna work in the long run. All right, so I couldn't just pick one person for Nightwing, so I've narrowed it down to 4 possible options, and none of them are perfect. But first up, we got Mason Thames. I know I mentioned him for Tim Drake, but he's 18 years old. He kind of has the look for Nightwing. He's a good actor. And, in a few years when the movie starts filming, he could age into the role a little more, and he would last a long time as that character, but I just think he is a little too young, especially if he's supposed to be interacting with Maya Hawke as Barbara Gordon. I just don't think that would really work chemistry-wise, but he's not the worst option I've ever seen. He's definitely better than Timothée Chalamet. Another name that I see thrown around a lot is Asher Angel. He played Billy Batson in the Shazam movies, and I definitely think that he has the look for Nightwing. He's a pretty good actor, And the best thing, he's 22. He could definitely play this character for 10 years and he wouldn't age out of it. I think that this is a pretty good option. Another option is Josh Houston. I see this one a lot, and he has the perfect look for Nightwing. He's got the height, he's 5'11". That's shorter than Batman, not even close to Superman. That's great. He's 28 years old, which, technically is in the range, but he couldn't really play this character for 10 years realistically. He would be close to 40. I don't think it would really work. But he definitely has the look, I'll give him that. And our last option is Liam Woodrum. He's got the look, he's got the charm, he's got the hair. He's 22 years old, which is the perfect age for a Nightwing cast to play the character for a decade. But, I think any of these guys would be a decent option. Obviously, they would all have to bulk up and they would age into the role a little bit because, again, we probably won't be getting these movies until like 2028. So they've got some time to prepare. But honestly, I think they should just go with an unknown because, again, Nightwing is so hard to cast. You're not going to find the perfect person. It's just not going to happen. Okay, I totally forgot about these two guys. You could also go with Jamie Flatters or Felix Mallard. There's so many options, and I don't think that any of them are really perfect, but... And there you have it, my picks for the Bat family. Here they are on screen so you can see what they look like together. I think it's a start. Obviously, it's not perfect. I'm not a casting director, so yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button and drop in the comments your Bat Family cast. I want to hear your thoughts, and if you disagree with me, let me know why in the comments. I love to interact with you guys and have discussions. I think it's really important, and most importantly, it's fun. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.